Hi everybody, Lisa here from Cool Kids Hub. Today I wanted to talk about what does a sleep schedule look like for a 2-month-old. Now, obviously in that newborn stage, your baby's sleep was very erratic. But as they sort of exit that newborn stage, you might find that their sleep is a lot less erratic. Now, it's still not consistent yet, but it's not as erratic as it is in those first sort of 8 weeks. You might also find at this stage your little one's starting to sleep slightly longer stretches at night. I know that's something a lot of parents look forward to. Some babies at this age start to even sleep between 4 and 6 hours. Now, this will depend on whether they're breast or bottle fed, because generally bottle fed babies do sleep for longer stretches. By this time, their day and night confusion should have also completely passed. Now, if you do have a little one that is still confusing their day and nights, then the important thing is to really get a bedtime routine in place. I'll put a link in the description of this video to a bedtime routine. And the bedtime routine doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it should be really simple. But though that bedtime routine helps to send signals to your little one that now is a time for sleep. And so if you haven't got that bedtime routine in place and your baby is still mixing up their nights and their days, now would be the time to kind of get that routine in place. Also, by the 2-month mark, that your baby can go for longer awake periods. So generally by now they can handle an hour to an hour and a half of awake time before they start to become really tired. And at this age, it's still not about getting a strict schedule. It's more about getting a routine to the day that starts to create healthy sleep habits for your little one. So how much sleep does a 2-month-old need? Well, they typically need between 14 to 16 hours of sleep. They will generally take between 3 and 5 naps, and these nap times can still be quite erratic, anything from 30 minutes up to 3 hours. And this is because they still don't have a mature sleep cycle yet. That happens around the 4-month mark. So now you'll still find that they have a very short sleep cycle, so they don't always link their 2 sleep cycles together, which is why you get these short little naps. Now, like I said, they can start to sleep longer at night now, maybe go 4 to 6 hours, depending on whether they're bottle or breastfed. And so that's generally, and they can handle like an hour to an hour and a half awake window. So let's talk about some of the tips to get your little one into a routine. Remember, like I said, this is not about getting a strict schedule because they're still a little bit young for that. It's more about just getting a routine to the day. So the first thing is, tip number 1 is make sure you interact a lot with your little one in the day. So use those awake windows to really interact with your little one. Make sure that the lights are bright, that you're playing, take them outside for a walk. Really get that interaction going so that your little one kind of knows this is daytime, and therefore starts to set them up when you do your bedtime routine that they know this is night. So that's tip number 2. Have a consistent bedtime routine. Like I said, I will put a link to a bedtime routine that you can download in the description of the video. But a bedtime routine is making sure that you're following that same pattern every single night. So a bedtime routine might be something like, you give your little one a bath, maybe a gentle baby massage. You've put them into their pajamas, you're giving them a feed, and then you might sing a lullaby, read a little book, and then it's down for bed. And you follow that same pattern every single night. The next thing is to have a routine for your naps as well. And really that is just a shortened version of your bedtime routine. So your nap routine might be as simple as, so let's say they've woken up from their nap, I would actually suggest feeding them first, but you would feed, you would play, and then you might be a nappy change, a little lullaby, and you're putting them down for bed. But those signals of the nappy change and the lullaby is what sends the signals to your little one that now it's the time for sleep. So tip number 4 is start putting them down when they are drowsy but still awake. Now, if your little one is used to being fed to sleep or rocked to sleep or shushed to sleep, they'll continue to want that. And this is what stops them eventually from sleeping through the night, because when they wake up in the night, they want that same thing, that feeding, that rocking, that shushing to get them back to sleep again. So start to create good sleeping habits in them now by putting them down when they're drowsy but still awake. Now, it's not going to work every time. There are times your little one will go to sleep and there are times that they won't because they're still very small. So just be flexible. If they don't go to sleep on their own, then yes, do whatever you have to do to get them to go down for bed or for nap. That might be shushing them, etc. But and often, this young age, it is hard to keep them awake when they're getting close to that tired. That's why I suggest that feeding when they first wake up, so they're most awake. Then play with them a little bit. Then sort of nappy change and lullaby, and then put them down because they are not going to be using that feeding to actually go to sleep. Now, what you can start to do is, if your little one has a dependency on like feeding to go to sleep, start with the first nap of the day, because this is generally the nap that you'll find your baby is the most tired, because they're kind of still not completely out of their night sleep, that nap they're most likely is the one they're most likely to go down to sleep on their own when they're drowsy but still awake. So tip number 5 is keep your nighttime interactions to a minimum. So, you're going to have to feed your little one during the night and change them, but keep that interaction with them to a minimum. Really, when they wake up in the night, you should be keeping the lights as dim as you can. It's not the time for putting on all the bright lights. Keep the lights dim. Feed and change your little one as quickly as you can and put them back. Don't be interacting with them and make it like it's time to play. You want them to know that whatever interactions happening at night is at a minimum. Then tip number 6 is wait before you respond. So when your little one does stir in the night, just give them a few minutes. I'm sure you've already discovered babies are very noisy sleepers, but they're also very light sleepers. So often they'll come out of their sleep, they'll stir, they might murmur, but they sometimes will go back. Often, especially if it's your first baby, your new time mom, you think, oh, they need me, and you quickly go to them. Just give them a few minutes. I'm not saying let them cry and scream. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just give them those couple of minutes to just see if they will resettle on their own and go back. Tip number 7 is have a pattern to your day. So I spoke about this earlier. When you have a pattern, then your little one starts to expect to know when sleep is coming. So like I said, you're going to get them up, you're going to feed them after they've had a nap, play. This is the time that you're going to make, the days, you're going to really interact and play with them, take them outside for a walk and interaction. And then you start to just calm things down a little bit. You have a nappy change, you might have a little cuddle, a lullaby, and then you put them down for sleep. But you follow that same pattern of feed, play, sleep, feed, play, sleep. And then the last tip is make sure they're having enough sort of calories and feeds in the day. Again, your baby needs to kind of be fed every 2 to 3 or 2 to 4 hours if they're breastfed. You might be able to go a little bit longer if they're bottle fed, but try and get them as close as possible to being fed at those intervals during the day, so that they're really stocking up on those calories, and that will help them to go sort of longer in the night. Now, like I said, at this age, it's still not about having a strict schedule. It is about just getting into this routine and starting to lay the foundation for healthy sleep habits. There are going to be days where things just don't go according to plan, and that is completely normal at this age. So don't put pressure on yourself or your little one. There are days you just got to go with the flow. Now I'm going to put a link to a sleep schedule or routine that you can download for a 2-month-old. This routine is based on a 90-minute awake window, but don't worry about sticking to the times, because there'll be times, like I said, your little one might only nap for 30 minutes and they're actually tired after an hour. So it's more important at this age to having the pattern of, when they're awake, feed, play, and then down for a nap. And also to really be looking for those tired signs and not letting your little one get overtired, and making sure you're putting them down before they become too tired. It's not about going, oh my gosh, it's 1 p.m, you got to go to sleep, or it's 2 p.m, it's time for a nap. Just adjust your day depending on how long they've napped and when you're starting to see those tired signs. This is just about starting to get them into a routine of the day and really starting to create those healthy sleep habits. So that is it for a sleep schedule for a 2-month-old. Like I said, I will put the links to a bedtime routine as well as to a sleep schedule that you can download in the description of this video. That's it for today. Bye for now.